And if we can leave a few seats out there in case we have some latecomers, that would be great. I'm Voris Brumfield, and I'm president of the Friends of the Gibson Museum and Cultural Center. And I'm excited to have you here for our second, we used to call them fireside chats. Now we're calling them chats at the Gibson. But this is going to be sort of a roundtable one that we do. And because last Sunday was Mother's Day, we're excited to recognize and remember the women who were mothers here in Middletown and how amazing they were for all of us. And there are three ladies here who have a little experience having been here in Middletown, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and say where they were born. Let's see, what did I say you were saying? Where you were born, how long you've lived in Middletown. Let's see, introduce yourself, where you were born, and how long you've lived in Middletown. Okay, you're on, Karen.
Okay, I'm Karen Lipscomb, and I was born in St. Helena, but I lived here, and because that's where everybody was born back in the day. I'm sure most of you were, except her. She was born in Calistoga Hospital.
Ooh.
The odd man out. And I no longer live in Middletown, but I was here at least 50 years.
At least 50?
Yes, and my mother was here from the time she was born. Until she passed away. My grandmother, we don't know when she came, but our grandfather lived here. Yeah, so I'll leave the rest for later.
Hi, I'm Linda Diehl-Darms, formerly Weatherwax.
Yes.
I know, you wanted me to say my maiden name. I knew that about her. Anyway, I've lived in this area. My parents moved here in 1955, and I had my first birthday here. And the rest of my siblings were born at St. Helena Hospital.
Okay, and I'm Voris Brumfield, and I moved here. I'm the newcomer. I came in 1975, and I've only been here 47 years. You know, so it's just barely got here. And we wanted to, when the museum or when the Friends of the Museum were looking at programs to highlight. Because I've known so many of the women, and most of these women that we're going to be highlighting are the ones that I have known. Either I went to church with them, I played bridge with them, or sang in choirs with them, or did services with them and for them. These are women who welcomed me into this community, virtually every single solitary one. I want to also introduce you to the manager of there are actually 3 museums here in Lake County that are run by the county. We are a very fortunate county to have 3 historic museums. The first one was the Courthouse Museum in Lakeport. The second one was the Lower Lake Schoolhouse Museum. And then this one, the Gibson Museum and Cultural Center, which used to be our library until the county built the one across the street. And then this was turned into a museum. But Corey Jensen is the manager of the 3 museums, and we're thrilled that she's here. Last month, our curator, who is Clark McAbee, was here with us. We also have another board member of the Friends of the Museum, our secretary. We have 2 board members, our secretary, who happens to be Janet Klein. And Millie, did you accept the vice presidency? Okay, and our Vice President, Millie Simon, is here. So we're excited to have these ladies, all of them here helping us, and our videographer, who is Gabriele Fellows. She is an employee of the county, is that correct, Gabriele?
Yes.
Yes, in the museum system. All right, and so she has been videotaping, or she will be videotaping, and doing interviews with people in the future.
Yeah, oral history interviews.
Oral history interviews. And so if you go on the Lake County Museum YouTube page,
Yes.
or YouTube site, you can see a lot of the interviews that have been done. We're trying to capture the history of this magnificent county while we still can. Yes. All right. So we have a list of ladies that we're going to be highlighting as mothers, and the first one that we had, she's gone away, is Mary Ellen Alsing. Anyone know Mary Ellen Olsen? Yeah. She was a member of the Catholic Church, but she used to come over to the Methodist Church, and she played for us, and she also sang in our choir. Mary Ellen was, oh, we have a guest coming with a baby. Yay! Hi! Come on in. There's a seat for you right over there. Yes, fantastic. So, Mary Ellen Olsen was born in 1919. She lived near Anderson Springs off McKinley Road, and she had a son who's done work on my house and everything, but she passed away in 2007. And those of you who knew Mary Ellen, are there things that you remember about her?
She was an artist.
Artist,
Yeah,
yeah.
she did beautiful work.
Yes,
Painting.
yes. So Mary Ellen Olsen is our first lady that we're highlighting.
She had 2 boys and a daughter.
Yes, well, I knew her one son, Peter, right? Yeah, Pete Olsen. Yeah, okay.
Aren't they related to you, Gary?
Yes.
Somehow.
Oh, how are they related to you, Gary?
Their mother
Uh-huh.
was my mother's aunt.
Oh, okay.
They're a part of the Noble family.
Yes, okay, so there's Mary Ellen, that's a little bigger picture of Mary Ellen.
Boris?
Yes.
I think Mary Ellen's father was Tom Corey, and he actually lived on Anderson Creek, right across from where Corinne,
Oh, Corinne, who lives in Anderson Springs now?
yeah, she's on the
uh-huh.
left, just up the creek. Anyway,
Right. Uh-huh.
his house was across there, and he actually, Huck Heyman made the shepherd's pipes.
Yes.
And Tom Corey taught.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
I have one of his, I think I still have it, one of his songbooks for the pipes.
Wow. And
Museum could have it.
I remember Mary Ellen, I think, also played shepherd's pipes.
Yeah, she gave me the book from him because she
Oh,
knew I
okay.
played.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, thank you, Gail. And if you'll introduce yourselves when you speak, at least the first time. So that's Gail. Right, but she was Evans. Yeah, Gail Evans Wright. Okay, thank
My
you.
mother's actually on that Facebook picture in the upper right-hand corner.
Yes, we'll get to her. Yes, okay. All right. Then we go to Della Brennan. Della was born in 1898, and she passed in 1989, and she was born in Nebraska, which makes sense if you knew Della. How many of you knew Della Brennan? All right, at least half of you, or a little bit more. So here's Della with Idalene Richmond. And how many of you knew Idalene? Oh yeah, okay. So Della was the daughter of Colmore Rogers Franz and Mary Selina Franz, and she was the wife of who? Orville Brennan, yes, and he was on the fire department, the volunteer fire department. They built their, I don't know if they built the stone house that's 1 block over and a block down.
I think they did.
I
Uh-huh.
think so
And he
too.
had the garage too.
Yes, Brennan's garage, yeah, and so then, but as far as Della was concerned, she was a magnificent tenor. She had a great voice, and I think she was a pianist as well. Yes, Millie.
The house that was built, the Brennans did build it.
Oh, they didn't?
No, I think Bob told me they had not built it.
It
But
started with the L, I can't remember, it. I have it written down because of details.
Mhm.
Yeah, it wasn't there and got built up.
Yeah, but it was absolutely wonderful having Della as a friend at the church because she was so welcoming. I mean, she was the most loving person. I've been blessed by a lot of Methodist women over at that church.
She also played bridge with my mom every Thursday for 40 years.
Wow.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday. And Lene is here.
Yeah, Marie was there until Marie went back to work.
Well, I played bridge with Marie Barcelona. Yeah.
That had to have been fun.
It was.
With Marie.
We're were down at the school. We had a bridge group that met at the school and, yeah, all right. So any other things that we want to share about Della Brennan? Anything else? All
She
right.
was the mother of Bob Brennan,
Bob Brennan, and she has another son,
Bill.
Bill.
He was a highway patrolman in
Oh.
Oakland.
Well, he's retired now, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so she had two sons we know of, and Bob just passed earlier this year. All right, then we go to Mary Ellen Shanklin Higgins. Where's Mary Ellen? There she is. There's Mary Ellen. And she was born in Omaha. She was born in 1925. Wow, and she passed in 2004. She was also a member of the Methodist Church. She was a great cook. Oh my word, could she cook.
And so.
And so,
Yeah, she was really good seamstress.
good seamstress. She was out at the Hidden Valley golf course, and there she worked with my husband, Richard, out there. And they truly enjoyed each other. And she's the mother of Calvin Higgins and
Martha.
Martha Menzio. Martha Higgins Menzio. And then she has another daughter, Janet,
Susan,
and Susan.
Noble.
Mhm, Susan Noble.
Susan passed away, I think.
So did-
Yeah, she just
She
passed
just
away.
passed
Mhm.
recently.
All right, and any other comments that we want to make about Mary Ellen other than her being precious? I do know, and this I will always remember, we were in church and in a service, and we had a pastor who started saying some things that I didn't agree with. And I was just so frustrated. Mary Ellen was in the kitchen. And I went in there, I said, "Can you believe she said that?" And she said, "Voris, don't worry about what she says. Worry about what Jesus says." And I'm going, hey! Now, is that a message or
That is a
what?
message.
That is I mean, I will always remember her for that message, okay? So don't worry about the pastor.
Yeah.
Common man. All right. Then on to Lola Coling. Anybody know Lola Coling? Yes.
I did a little.
Little bit, yeah.
I knew Lola a lot. Here's Lola. And Lola was born in Missouri in November 13th, 2017. She and her husband Willie, Bill Coley, moved to San Mateo in 49, and they were married in 36. In Plains, Missouri, she was active in the Methodist Church there, and Lola was active at our Methodist Church as well. They were dedicated Boy Scout leaders, both of them. Lola was named Mother of the Year in the 1950s. They sold their Coling Auto Body Shop in San Francisco, and in 77, 2 years after I got here, they retired to Middletown. Lola loved gardening and her family. They lived on Butts Canyon Road. And,
That was Big Canyon.
no,
Butts Canyon.
Butts Canyon.
Oh, it's big?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
They
No.
own property though up behind.
That's
Harvard.
right.
Okay,
Behind Harbin, yes, because Darrell used to have to go
Okay.
through Harbin to
Okay.
get to their property.
Okay.
But no, they lived on Butts Canyon. Okay, and she was a very giving person. And what I remember about Lola was I taught a class at the church called The New Attitude. Lola must have been in her 70s, a very young woman. And I was in my 40s. And I was so excited that she definitely wanted to participate. And in 1999, we had a sleepover at the church because we were going to sleep into the new year, the 2000s. Lola brought her sleeping bag. She was there to sleep over also. So, I mean, she was very impressive to me that she was going to, continue to participate. Anything else about Lola Coley? Then let's go on to Evelyn Hayden Nelson. Anybody know Evelyn?
Yep.
Yeah, just half the world. She was born in 1917 and she passed in 2014. She was born in Berkeley, and she was very proud of her 15 grandchildren and 15 great-grandchildren and her 2 great great-grandchildren. And what do we know about Evelyn?
She was just a sweet lady.
She was.
I'll say something too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Susie Weatherwax Knowles.
Mhm.
And when I went to school, Eric and I are the same age. Evelyn's son, Eric, and I are the same age. And every day after kindergarten, I went to Evelyn's house to wait for my older siblings to get out of school, and then we all rode the bus together to Gwinnett. And Evelyn, I knew her my whole entire life, and she was absolutely wonderful.
Did how long did she live in the house on Big Canyon Road?
She
Right
was
there
there when I was in
From
kindergarten.
the shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was only 10 years ago.
She lived across the street.
She lived across the street from
Yeah.
Larry's shop.
No, but before that, she
Oh,
lived
before that?
at the very end of the street that goes down past the bank, the house that burned.
We always went to the house she was in. I mean, in kindergarten, I went
Next door where Hermans used to live.
where Helen Herman lived.
Yeah, she lived there. Thank you.
Well, in kindergarten, Eric and I walked to the house that she was in when she passed away.
And yeah, that's where Evelyn lived too. Past the Catholic on the right, left. and
It wasn't the
then
house. It was the one across from Larry.
Yes.
Shelton's wife just moved, Robin Shelton just moved, just sold the house, and that's where.
Oh, so it's I saw it was for sale.
Mhm.
Robin was still there?
No, she's gone.
Oh,
She
she's gone.
sold her house, and now it's for sale again.
Oh, geez.
One
Yeah,
of the,
there's no water there, but they have a town well.
oh,
They have a well there, but it's no.
no city water.
No city water.
Oh, they never hooked up.
And that, okay. We
Now
will-
I'm telling on them, so.
Yeah.
Boris.
Okay.
Too.
Okay, we'll blank that part out. So, one of the things about Evelyn was she was always well coiffured.
Yes.
I mean, she looked great all the time. When I used to visit her in Meadowood, she would ask me, Boris, why am I still here? And I said, you're still here to inspire us and motivate us. And I used to visit and take her communion at her house, and she had this big picture window. And she said, I see the kids coming and going from school. And I said, you know what you can do then? Why don't you pray every morning as you see them going to school? And then when they're coming home, you can pray for them then. She goes, that's a good idea. You know, so it gave her something to do. And she had a wonderful, what was her, Fijian?
Yes. Caretaker.
Caretaker.
Yes.
I mean, she was absolutely marvelous, who took just perfect care, and I used to take the communion. Okay.
Kathy wants to tell a story.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Evelyn, she didn't want to bother anybody.
Mhm.
And there was a time that she was really sick with the flu, and she got herself to the front door and unlocked it. So when they came to find her deceased, they wouldn't have to break in.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. Now, that's what I call thoughtful.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. Yes, Lene.
I'm Lene Barcelona. My grandma was friends with Evelyn a lot.
Mhm.
And Evelyn, when she, was thinking about getting married, and she asked my grandma, what do you think, of that? And my grandma told her, well, if you both love each other, then that's fine, because she had been married before. She was so cute.
Yes.
My grandma loved her.
When she was thinking about marrying Eric's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
She asked my grandma
Yes.
what she thought. and what,
Yes.
And grandma said, oh, that's
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so that was Evelyn Nelson, Miss Well Coiffured. Evelyn. And we didn't do Nina Buska. Nina was a recent comer to this community, but she was also a magnificent graphic artist. She did the graphics for 90% of the things here in the Gibson Museum. She did our website. She wrote all kinds of articles and newspaper articles. She was a great historian, and she had two sons and a daughter. One of her sons stripped this floor, and he spent several days doing it, and he lives on Cobb, and he's in a band, and I can't remember his name. It'll bubble up maybe. And then his other son was Mark Brent, was with the newspaper in the Chamber of Commerce and things like that. So I wanted to highlight Nina Buska for the work that she did on actually creating the museum, because it was her, when we had the luncheon club in the Methodist Church, where they were closing or moving the library, and she said, she did a survey. What do the people of Middletown want to do with this building? And so she created a survey, and at that time, it was either an art museum or a museum. And we said, we need a museum for South County history. And so she was the one who kept us going, and she's done lots of PowerPoints that are on this computer and things that if you want to come back to see the history of Middletown from when it was owned by the Spanish before it became an actual town, she talks about that and the history of it. So that's Nina Buska. Anybody else know Nina? Want to say anything about
I
her?
just knew of her. I knew
Mhm,
her,
mhm.
and I enjoyed reading everything that she wrote.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and she also wrote the book on the Stone House. She's written a number of publications, and Nina died last year, I believe it was, a year ago, July. Okay, and that was Nina. And now, let's do Karen Simon. Do we have someone here who can speak to Karen Simon?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to stand and so that she doesn't have to swing the camera so far? And do you have anybody who wants to hold your baby?
Can I hold her?
Oh, yes, of course you may. But, you know, I'm also good at holding babies. But, yes.
Oh, she is
Oh, how precious. Okay.
Okay, Karen Simon is my mother.
Yes.
She was born in Santa Rosa, California, September of 1955, to Emily Parker Piper and Paul Piper, which were two families from here. Sorry, I'm not a public speaker now.
No, you're doing a great job.
She was another great cook.
Yes, she could cook
worked in many of the
anything.
restaurants too.
She cooked at the Middletown Cafe for a very long time. She bartended and cooked at Maribel's, which was way south of town.
Yeah.
She married,
Stonehouse. it used to be.
yeah.
And up there.
Oh, Kathy's Inn
Kathy's
in
Inn.
Clear Lake,
And the Oasis.
and the Oasis out on Highway 20. Then
She
she
was-
started working, yes.
Okay, Lily, you want to come up and
Yes.
do a joint thing?
Well, when she was kind of going down, I
Yeah.
had to pick up for her.
Yes.
No, I understand, but it's easier to hear, you know, if, okay.
And
go
then
ahead.
she married my father in 1971, had 2 kids,
Supervisor Simon
and myself.
Stephanie Simon. And they were married in Judge Irwin's house.
Right next to Harvester's.
Oh, and
Yes.
yes, right next, yes.
In the evening, December 2nd. Let's see, she worked for Gwinock Winery for a very long time, since I think she started working out there in 1986 or 1988, until she retired in 2004. But like my aunt said, she was a very good cook. She was self-taught to sew,
I was gonna say she was a good sewer.
she did everything. She fixed cars, she helped build houses. She was an all-around person in Middletown, well-known. And very, she was like my brother, a very good speaker in public, and she was always heard wherever she went. And she, like I said, she was born to Emily Parker Piper, who is also one of the original women from Middletown, along with her 5 sisters.
Wow.
Who were Doris, Lila, Lillian, Virginia, and Roberta.
And Vivian.
Yeah. They were all raised here.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, and I was raised here. My daughter was raised here, and this is my granddaughter.
That's your grandbaby?
Yes.
Oh.
Who will also be raised here. So that's
Yes.
5
5
generations,
generations.
of
Fantastic.
women.
And she baked Stephanie's wedding cake.
Yes.
It was a very beautiful cake. Very
She
beautiful.
baked every one of our wedding cakes down to my daughter's in 2019. And she passed in 2020.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I first met Karen when I was a preschool teacher over at the Methodist Church. It was 1973. And she had, she enrolled her son in, no, 70, yeah. Or it's- No, closer to 70, well, it was closer to 76 or 77 because I was pregnant with Star. And her son, Moke Simon, the third, was one of my preschool students. He and his cousin Ray, and they were little. They were like 5. Well, now I look up at Moke like this. Yes, but Karen was an incredibly caring mother, very determined to make sure that her child was safe. Yes, yes. All right, thank you very much, Stephanie. Okay, and now let's go on to, where is she? Marion Hyde. Marion Hardister, where's Marion? She's here.
She's on the other side of somebody.
Yeah, she's on the other side of somebody. Yes.
She's in mine.
I want people to note how much she looks like her mama.
And in this picture,
They all look
she's
alike.
sitting
Yeah,
there
they
like
do.
this with this ring on.
Uh-huh.
So if you have, because I have that in my living room, and this was her ring.
Wow,
Yeah, it's her birthday.
fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
I got this one out of the Methodist Church
Yeah, that's-
directory.
Yeah, and she gave us all a picture, which she never had a picture taken, so we all got a copy of that.
Oh, my
Which, You know, it
goodness.
didn't happen very often.
Yes,
So that
yes.
was-
Well, here is her daughter.
I'm her baby daughter.
I know saying that. I'm the baby.
Her favorite.
She was very tired by the time I came.
So how many children are there in your family?
7,
7?
yes. 6 girls and 1 boy,
Uh-huh.
which is
And thank
their
heaven.
father, and mother thought he walked on water,
Uh-huh,
and
yes.
we believe that. Now that we're older, she was very right.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so, mhm.
She was raised on the ranch out there by Cowpine. That was
Okay.
her ranch and her parents' ranch.
Okay.
And also the park property was theirs. My grandmother gave that property to the community for,
Oh, the
yeah,
Central Park.
for Central Park,
Uh-huh.
yes. They donated, my grandmother donated that. We couldn't figure out what year, but you guys probably know what year, when it was acquired. But, yeah, and my grandfather's parents, mother and, well, I don't know where the father was, but the mother, I think he had passed on.
Oh,
The
okay.
mother and sister, they lived between Dry Creek Cutoff and the reservation. Back there somewhere, there was a house.
Oh.
That house caught fire, and my grandfather's mother and sister burned up in that house. I have an article here I'll leave for you guys to read.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're buried in Santa Rosa, and that's where we put Mom's ashes too with her dad. Her mom's at Chapel of Chimes in Santa Rosa. Isn't that Chapel of
Yeah.
Chimes?
Yeah,
Her
her mom and dad are there.
No.
Popcore is at Chapel of Chimes.
I thought the grandmother, that's right, the grandmother. And then also my grandfather's sister was Estelle Collins, who we called Aunt Teddy. And you know where Lynn Norton lives?
Yes.
Right straight across the street, next to where you live, Mrs. Howard's house. That was Aunt Teddy's house for years. You know, and we would always go to Aunt Teddy's for this and that. Because my grandfather, Gore, that was his name was Walter Gore. He passed away when I was like 3, I believe. I do have memory of him, and my mom always told me after he passed, I'd walk in the house and I'd say, shh, Pop Seepin'. So and then I can remember him sitting on the back stoop, I'd step, cracking pine nuts. Now, if you know about the pine nuts here in this area, they're really hard. You don't, it's very, but he would, I remember having a jar of pine nuts that popped.
Wow.
But other than that, I have no, these guys went to school at the high school that was across from my grandmother's house, which is, well, Kenny Lou Singer lived there, and that house burnt down, and it's been rebuilt. But that belonged to a Dr. Blake, I believe his name was. The walls were about that stone, about that thick, and that's where he kept his medicine. Debbie's dug tons of bottles out of, she was a digger. And she'd go to the creek.
Your sister?
My sister Debbie, yes. And because her and Bill lived there, raised their boys there. And but my sisters and brother, they would go to Nan and Pop's for lunch from the high school.
No, grammar school.
Oh, grammar school was there
grammar
too?
school,
Yeah, well, that's before my time. But my mother was a wonderful cook. We did a cookbook, which Greg and Grant's mother helped us. She cattle prodded us. And bless her heart for doing that, because otherwise we wouldn't have that cookbook. Kathy and I edited it, and we didn't do. We made some mistakes.
Oh. Do you have an addendum to it? You know.
Well, I have little notes written, so if anybody wants to call me, I'll tell you what page and what's wrong. And our older sister she's pretty prim and proper, and you know, it comes from academia, and we're still country bumpkins. But bless her heart, she pointed out our mistakes. But we love her for it.
Yes.
Yeah, but Mom was she was very quiet, but she did a lot for the community, and, you know, for her neighbors. Always, you know, she baked probably 50 kinds of cookies at Christmas time, and everybody, you know, Evelyn got some, Della got some, everybody got some. Barslow's always got some. And in fact, the year she died, the day she died, we were at our house, and Grant and Stacy with their oldest daughter, Kristen, was there, and there was one sugar cookie left from Christmas that was in the back room, because she kept them in the back room because it was cool back there. And Kristen got to eat Grandma's last sugar cookie. I don't know if you remember that, but I remembered it, because that was, you know, meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah, but the neighbors, I mean, she always did.
The firemen's auctions too, I think
She always baked school things. Now you can't bake, but her mayonnaise cakes were very well known. They were always sold before. They were sold before they got to the table. And Joyce Breland was always one of them. Would call and say, "Are you making a mayonnaise cake?" And they were very good. I've made them a couple times, but it's a lot of work. But you know, she had a neighbor that couldn't afford the newspaper and couldn't afford garbage, so she'd go down there the night of garbage, get her garbage. Walk down the newspaper every day after she read it. You know, she just very thoughtful.
And that's one of the exciting things about being in this community, is how thoughtful people are and have been. And that's what they've given to us who are still here, is that thoughtfulness. Anyone else want to mention a few things about Marion? Yes,
I
Lynette?
think she had a wonderful sense of humor. She would laugh at me all the time.
That's just reality.
I loved her for it anyway.
Yes.
She was just always,
She was a good mom.
She was like one of her own, you know.
She didn't say a lot, but she had this look. Get over it. And I mean, we tell each other that now, and people say, I don't remember, or some will say, I don't remember Mom saying that. Well, she didn't. She did it with her eyes.
With her eyes,
and it was, you know, get over it, you know. And she was good at the silent treatment. If she you know, and those traits have come up in our lives, you know. Every once in a while I get called Marion.
Her grandsons are here. Are there any memories that you would like to share of your grandmother?
Lots of memories. I'm Greg Hardister. One that I wasn't around for, but I understand she drove her friends over Mount St. Helena when she was a little girl. And I don't remember how old she was, but it was maybe 11 or something. Or
could be.
Very young, driving her friends over Mount St. Helena. I've always thought of that, driving over that mountain.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Another memory, if you bought a new car in town, and I don't know how many of you know what Harbin Hill is, most of you should know what Harbin Hill is when we talk about, if that vehicle could make it up Harbin Hill, you got yourself a darn good car.
Grant, did you have any things you want to share about your grandmother?
Sure. So right after I was married, my wife and I moved to Middletown. We didn't have any children, and Grandma was alive and well, and she would regularly take us out to dinner. And she would say, pick me up at 7, but if we weren't there by 6:45, we were late. But she loved Lake County. She had annual trips she would make around the lake to see the redbuds and the Easter lilies and so many things that she appreciated about the beauty of Lake County, and you know, appreciated living here. She didn't want to live anywhere else, so it was she was a loyal resident.
Yes. Around Easter of every year she'd go, there's chemise lilies, we call, I don't know, and they're Easter lilies, but they grow here in the, underneath manzanita trees.
Oh,
and not
those
very
that
many,
look like orchids?
Little yellow and white, okay. Well, a prime spot was Dead Horse, so we'd head out to Dead Horse in the Jeep and get bundles of, because she'd pass them, Evelyn got some, but all the neighbors, and they smelled wonderful. Now, we have done it, and this year we didn't, they weren't quite out yet, but the only place we found on going to Riverview, which, you know, out that direction, there's one spot there. There's a place in Gwinnett, but it's their property, so we kind of snuck on there. And there used to be the old road that went through Gwinnett. There was a hillside, rocky hillsides, and Dead Horse, of course, but you can't get out to Dead Horse anymore either. But that was an annual thing for her to get chemise lilies and pass them out to everybody. And the smell is wonderful. So if you ever see one,
sniff it.
Yes, they're wonderful.
In 1977, I was teaching a class, an exercise class for older women. And your mom was a part of my exercise class. We had to do it at Cobb, at Little Red Schoolhouse. And after that summer, I think it was 77, she took her cruise to Alaska because she said, I'm going to miss a couple of weeks of class because I have to take this cruise. And when she got back, she told me about the cruise and how wonderful it was. So I'll never forget. You know, and that's what's inspiring too, is older women here were willing to adventure. You know, they didn't just sort of sit here. They took time to go out and experience and to get involved in things. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Any other comments about Marion Hardister Hyde?
Yeah, she was my mother-in-law, and she...
Okay, tell us who you are.
Okay, I'm Ted. I'm married to Doris Hardister, better known as Deanie. And I came into the family probably, well, 72, late 1972, when I met Deanie and then came in. But she baked Christmas cookies, and you know, a dozen varieties of great Christmas cookies. And I don't know, my hearing's pretty bad, and I don't know if she have you talked about her that when she was pregnant, nobody
Oh, yeah.
knew about it.
No, it wasn't mentioned. We
Because she
didn't know.
kept it very secret. And there's the story of the doctor's wife saw her frequently and kind of say, yeah. And well, so the doctor comes home and says, well, Marion had another daughter. Because there were all these, one boy and the rest of them girls. And of course, the wife says, no, he couldn't be. I just saw her, she wasn't pregnant. And the doctor said, well, I just delivered her baby. I think that's the case. Very, very private person in that respect.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful. All right, anything else on Marion? Did we do Sue Evans's yet?
No.
All right, let's talk about Sue Evans. Her daughter is here, Gail. So Gail, do you want to share some things about your mother before everybody else does?
So my family, I was born in St. Helena, and my parents at that time lived in St. Helena. My father's family lived in St. Helena, and he came up here as a lineman for PG&E. And and they moved into the house right across the street there. And she's, told us later, she says, I didn't want to stay there. She says, there was nothing there. I didn't know anybody. It was over the mountain and, far from everything. But she absolutely loved Middletown. And she'd drive anything over that. I remember we got a carpet for our house. We used to have linoleum that looked like carpet. And they ordered one from Sears. And she drove that truck over Mount St. Helena. We had to meet the railroad in Calistoga. And we were coming up around that first turn, and her door flew open, and she just reached over, pulled it back. There's nothing that she wouldn't do or try. And she also was a good cook. I really didn't learn to cook from her because we were out running all the time. But she also made lots of cookies and mostly took them to the sugar cookies, and she would take them to the older single or just couples in town that didn't have much. I don't know if you guys remember Unky.
Yes,
Yes,
we used to take Unky cookies.
Yeah. Unky, and then Liz and I want to say Liz and Tiz. I think that's.
Tiz.
Remember them?
I remember Tizzy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Dewey Sauser, and so she kind of adopted a lot of people, and we always had lots of people come to our house, and then when I don't know that they were exchange students, but they were like college students that would come and visit and be from another country.
Exchange.
Yeah.
Exchange students.
Yeah, but they weren't in high school. They were
Graduate student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, she would always host a couple of them for a dinner. Of course, she was very involved in the Methodist Church. She served on their board for a long time.
And she was also, when we had Sunday school or Vacation Bible School, because the churches would all get together and have them at the Methodist Church. So Catholic kids would come over and kids from the Baptist Church, and they had a united church service. We have the picture from 1956 of the youngsters standing on the steps at the Methodist Church.
I believe that was actually Sunday school. because
That
they
was Sunday school?
They always
Okay.
had Sunday school
Yeah, we went to
for
Sunday
years.
school.
We always went.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think my sister Mary Ann's in that one.
Yes, she
In a
is.
wheelchair,
Yes, she
yeah.
is in that picture.
That was in Sunday school.
That was Sunday school.
Sunday
Okay.
school, I want to say, was at 10, and then the church was at 11.
Yeah.
Yes. So what does everyone else remember about Sue Evans? I remember she was the most straightforward person you ever wanted to be in your entire life. There was nothing sweet and soft about Sue. I mean, she was.
If she wanted to know something, she just came and asked.
And she was direct
Yeah.
and to the point, and I loved it. She's like Millie Simon, you know, or Millie's like Sue.
And she'd
I mean,
do
just-
anything for you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What's that? No.
She was very involved and in the church, as Gail said, and she was the secretary for the council for years and years and years. And she was also very involved in the Middletown Luncheon Club.
Yes, she was very active in the Middletown Luncheon Club for years and years. Yes, Millie.
We were working in Harvesters.
And she
Yeah.
worked in Harvesters.
And the drugstore.
Oh, yeah.
And Reed, was that Reed's Drugstore?
Yeah.
Nellie
Reed's
Reed's.
Drugstore.
Nellie Reed.
She was Nellie Reed, R-E-A-D.
Right.
And then she married my uncle Frank Reed, which was R-E-E-D, and moved to Nevada.
Wow, wow.
We got the whole setup over here.
Yeah. Oh, the exhibit is over
On the
there.
Reed family.
On the
Oh,
Reed
okay.
family, yes, and this was curated by Corey. Corey curated that exhibit, so please get a chance to look at it. It's in the case on the side, right?
Yes, on the left-hand side.
On the left-hand side. All right. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay. Now, we also have Marie Barcelo.
Oh, you do? They told me.
Oh, no one told you? Okay, I got a couple of photos off your Facebook page. And because I heard Lene was going to be here, and because I used to play bridge with Marie, so tell us about your mom, Lene. You want to come up here and do it, please? And Lene has also contributed things to displays here. Wasn't it the Herrick Hotel and the quilt that you brought in to load us from the?
That my mom's or what is it?
Okay, it'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your mom.
She grew up here. She was born here. My grandma told us that the doctor said she was this. My grandma Gladys said the doctor said that she was as healthy as a cow. So we always thought that was funny. But my mom was really a kind person. She was very good to kids. She worked at the school. She helped the ones that needed help, and they seemed to take to her. And I even had one of them tell me not to be so hard on my mom. So that's a pretty nice compliment.
It is.
My mom took good care of her family, her father, her mother, and we've all been close-knit. We stayed close. We love our people that we've known in Middletown. That's all I can say. My mom was a very good bridge player. She was very smart. She was on the Central
Park Committee?
Yeah, no, not the, she was a Democrat.
The Central Committee.
Yeah, she was on that, and went around with, who was, Comstock.
Yes, her dress is right there.
Oh.
Jim Comstock's mom.
Yeah.
Nanette's.
Annette and my
Annette
mom
Comstock.
and did that together. But she did she was always with Marion too. And I was there too because our kids loved to dig in her garden and see the bugs. She'd call my daughter the bug lady.
Yeah.
Marion would call Rachel the bug lady. But my mom was not an outside person. She did not want to move to the ranch. The house next door was her father made
Built this house?
that house.
Wow.
And it was brought up to the front.
Okay.
And anyway, so he had a rough time getting her there, but I think he got someone to do, you know, where you put the stuff on the wall, not painting, it was more like.
Decorating?
Plaster or lap?
No, the
Wallpaper.
wallpaper.
Oh.
She wallpapered, he had it wallpapered and
Oh.
everything in another, and of course, a toilet where there weren't for a while. So you could even see in the house how it bent down and ended together. It was my heaven and my dad's heaven, is living there, and my mom got used to it. But there was a time that a cat scratched her, and she was hanging up clothes in the ranch, and she had to stay off her foot because, you know, it was a big deal then. And I said, "Oh, Mom, you're gonna live." And that was the end of that. So she loved me. She loved our whole family, and we love all of you.
Yes.
And I didn't know I was doing this, so that's
You did good.
I'm a rambler.
Marie was godmother to Jackie, Wally, Marianne, Deanie, and I.
Wow.
And the young ones, Linda Brookins was the godmother.
Uh-huh.
But Marie was our godmother.
Yes.
But the little ones, you know, they were at the
little
end.
ones.
Well, there was a break.
There was a 7-year
Like
break
7-year
there.
break.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think I only happened to keep Debbie company. And that's my reason.
You were surprised?
Anyone else know about Marie Barcelona that you want to share, that you wish to share? Yes, Millie.
Being the librarian at the independent school.
She was a librarian.
The librarian, very, like she said, very kind.
Yes. Yeah.
Always
And
had a
Marie,
nice smile.
okay, speak a little louder, Millie. A motorcycle just went by.
Thank you. But yeah, she was very kind, like Lene said. She treated me decent and nice, helped me read. But she was a librarian a long time at the
Yes.
school.
Wow. Very good. All right, now have we done, thank you very much. Have we done Jerry Weatherwax?
No, let's.
We haven't done Jerry Weatherwax?
No.
Yes, Susie.
So the lady can't go back and forth.
Ay, ay, ay.
Thank you. I can, thank you.
You're good, you're good.
Go ahead.
So, this is my sister Susie, and my name's Linda Diehl-Darms. Weatherwax is my maiden name. My dad found this area trucking, and he brought my mom up in the spring, and she thought it was gorgeous. He moved her in July to the ranch, and it was
Where was that ranch, Linda?
Snell Valley Road.
Out by Pope Valley.
Out by Pope Valley. And they bought, it was a 160-acre ranch, and my mom was a pioneer long after pioneer ladies were done. When they moved out there, she had no electricity. She was in a single-wide Airstream trailer with no bathroom, and she ended up having 2 other kids, so she had 3 babies in that trailer before she was in a house. I remember seeing her with a washboard.
I remember her doing the washboard.
I remember her, my dad had a gas station right on the corner where Mac is right now, the Middletown Art Center, and it was Bob Chevron. And my mom, I remember, you know, he had to have white shirts. That's just so crazy to me. It had his name on it, but she had to keep them, you know, clean. And I remember her doing that with the washboard, and then
She ironed too, I'm sure.
yes, yeah, she had a propane iron that she used.
A propane iron?
Yeah, yeah. And my dad had a generator, and
We
so
didn't have electricity till I think I was in the 3rd grade.
yeah.
I remember starting the generator.
Yeah, the generator. We could only watch TV at night. When we got into a house, we could only watch TV at night because the generator wanted to use a lot of gas. And we all learned how to turn it on and off and all of that. We didn't have a telephone.
I was in the 5th grade when we got a telephone.
Yeah, Yeah, so.
Because I used to always get to answer the phone at school, because each classroom had a phone, and I was the only one that never had a phone, so it would ring in the classroom, and I always got to answer.
We had a party line. I don't know if people remember party lines.
Oh, yes.
But out there, we had a party line, and so you had to be careful when you were on the phone when we finally got one.
And it was long distance to call Middletown, and my mom was always very frugal. We had to call the operator and asked if they could call us back after we called on this call. They would tell us how much money it was, and we had to put money in a piggy bank. Or we couldn't use the phone again if we didn't pay for our calls.
Cobb was long distance.
Yeah,
Cobb was
even
long
in
distance.
1975, Cobb was long distance.
So we stayed on the ranch as kids. We didn't spend a lot of time in town until we were probably, I remember being about 5th or 6th grade when Mom started working in town.
Right.
And then we would come to town because they had Nobles, and that was the bar, a liquor store, and a restaurant. And we would go there and help them work. And then, do we want to talk about all the things she did? Or?
Yeah, you can do that.
She was very involved in the school when we were in school. They started us in Pony Color Guard. That was a group of kids that traveled to all the local areas. We were in all the parades. We won first place. We won sweepstakes awards with all the families around. We would travel and do that. We had trips in the high school called Easter Spring Field trips, and we would travel. We would take a school bus, but my parents always went. They were the cooks. They took care of all the food, and they went with us with everything in school, I think. They founded the Middletown Boosters Club for the high school. They also founded the Middletown Merchants Association. There were some break-ins, and it was the early 70s, I think, late 60s. And there were break-ins around town. And so they hired a security, all the businesses got together and they hired a little security guy that used to walk the streets.
It's like 78.
Was it 78?
Mm-hmm.
Might have been. Because I was still in school though when I graduated in 75, the year you moved here. I was a senior.
Well, then they
Anyway,
had to do it again in 78.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a break-in at Hardester's. And then there were other break-ins, but keep going, sorry.
my parents always had parties at their house or community
Yes.
events. Before there was the Middletown Lions Club, I think it was the Weatherwax property where we would have get-togethers.
They would hire live bands.
Yeah, we would
And
hire
have
live
big-
bands.
and have
We
big
too
barbecues.
made a ton of cookies at Christmas time. I didn't realize how many people got cookies from all the different families. They were probably loaded. She was a wonderful lady, a wonderful mom. She had a great sense of humor.
There were a lot of people that were scared of my mother. She was 4'11", but she was
She was very matter of fact.
I mean,
very
she
direct.
was very direct. Very direct.
She and Sue Evans were probably
Yeah.
cut from the same cloth.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so.
But our two cousins came and lived with us. We always had somebody else living with us, it seemed like. They had adopted our two cousins, so there were 6 of us.
And we were all teenagers.
We were all teenagers. We had a Volkswagen van, and we all went everywhere in the Volkswagen van.
They go through 2 gallons of milk at a meal because there were 4 boys.
Yeah. She had to cut them off, remember, they could only have 2 glasses.
Yeah.
But I feel very fortunate to have her as a mother. She was a wonderful role model. She was very great in the community. They really instilled in us how community is everything. You have to give to your community if you want to. And it takes a village. It takes a village, and we are a village. And
Yes. She used to tell us that that if you don't move fast, the world's going to pass you by. And she used to have us pick jobs out of a goblet thing every Saturday. And we each had to pick 3 jobs, and she'd say how long that job should take you.
so if you had the bathroom, you had 20 minutes to clean the bathroom. If you picked the kitchen, you might have gotten 30 minutes. I don't remember. Yeah, we all were da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, because she didn't want the world to pass us by. So she had to move.
Did anybody else know Jerry Weatherwax? How many of you knew Jerry Weatherwax? Oh, yeah. Okay, we have a few who knew Jerry. Any other comments about Jerry?
The last dinner that I remember them serving was at the Lions Club for Hardester's Christmas party, and I don't know what year that was, But I do remember we had ham and mashed potatoes, I don't know what else.
Oh, they catered?
Yeah, yeah, cooked in the kitchen.
Kitchen and did it, yeah.
Our parents were both charter members of the Lions and Lionesses. They were very active in those clubs.
Anyone else over here? About Jerry Weatherwax? Are there any other mothers that we want to highlight of Middletown?
Well, I think we really need to acknowledge Millie and her mom here, and I know your mom didn't really participate a whole lot in the community.
Not like
She
Millie
was-
does.
Yeah, not like Millie is forced to by Boris. But
No,
Millie,
I'm just proud to say that I was born on the Rancheria in 1953, and they talk about they didn't have no electricity, and we didn't get it till 1969. So they're way behind. Candle to me. That's when the government just said that 11 Middletown is about time that you guys get power and indoor plumbing. So that was it. And when I went to school here, Karen and I were the founders of the Mini Canyon Elementary.
Yeah,
where
the
we
first
started
kindergarten class in the new school.
And our kindergarten teacher is Mrs. Gross. She lived
Mrs.
on
Gross,
the-
I do remember
And
Mrs.
now,
Gross.
I'm proud to say that we own that property where she lived, that the Ranchery owns it, and I sit on many panels here. I sit on this, I sit on the Indian Health Board, and I travel. And like I say, and I do know Jerry, she was the first one, she's the one came and asked me if I wanted to work.
You worked for it, she loved having you work for
And
them.
she's the one taught me to, don't let everybody walk over you. And that's where I learned it.
Yeah,
I
well,
knew boys.
Good
you
teacher.
didn't learn it from me, so I can believe you learned it from Jerry Weatherwax.
I remember when Millie was very shy and very quiet. And I commented to her, I said, I remember when you were so shy. She said, Jerry Weatherwax cured that.
Rita Thompson told Jerry, hire Millie.
I
Harry didn't know
remember Rita.
anything about it, and then Harry Rilla came and said, Millie, will you be a bartender? And I had no idea. Peppermint schnapps, whether it shot what, I had no idea, but I learned.
You did.
Yes.
I enjoyed every job that I had. I wore many hats in every job. And I'm proud to say that I'm an Indian woman. I had it very rough in my school. I'm not proud of Middletown School at all. And now I work for a lady who just said to me from Hidden Valley last week, so prejudice still carries on, oh, you're an Indian. I said, well, either tell me get out, or either I'm gonna help you today.
Wow.
But that still goes on today, so that was in Hidden Valley, that was just last week. But I'm proud to say I did graduate from the school. I met a lot of, I can't say hard life, a lot of troubles, a lot of heartbreaks, I guess, in my time of living. And I thank you for letting me sit on this board, and it is good to see this Gibson rise up. 7 years that we all come together on this. So please, people, donate to the Middletown Gibson in order for us to have another setting like this. Instead of like she just said, community got to stick together, but come on, Susie, come here and be part of this.
Can you come to the Middletown Central Park and the Lionesses and all the other things?
My dad and them did that in 1961. My dad and them did that. My dad's the one built the arena fence. With Roy Bennett, letting him use area equipment out there on Diamond D to come and do this, along with the Newmans, Bill Stepson.
There was a bunch of them.
Jesse Hollingsworth was the welder in Middletown. Now there's no shop there where he was. Look at you guys, I'm the historian. Yeah, Jesse Hollingsworth, he's the one who made the underground stuff there for the barbecue. I don't know if it's still there.
Do they still do the pit? Middletown Day?
No,
The pig, oh, they don't?
they don't cook a pig like that.
Oh.
Millie, what was your mother's name?
My mom's name was Caroline Simon. She was a Windham Indian, and that's what we are, Pomo Windham. She was from Rumsey, Cache Creek.
Oh, okay.
And my dad was from Pomo here. He worked for Diamond D for, he came to work there in 1952.
Okay.
So my dad was working there, and my mom just did, just odds and ends job. But she, and I thank the harvesters, and I thank Comstock, because Comstock did let my dad hunt every day out there, and that's why he fed us. The harvesters gave my dad credit, and that's how we lived. So I do appreciate those, and I will never shop in another store, because they helped us. Reed Harvester, John Oren, and, well, I don't know Bill Wink, but Mr. Wink.
Ed Wink.
I remember them three standing at the counter. And I remember going into the harvester that was right here where, well, the Voris brothers.
Yes.
The hard, I remember
Yeah.
going in there and talking to
I
Margaret
do too.
Springsteen.
Oh,
And I couldn't say Loveless candy bar. And she would always come and be, when I came in with a nickel, she'd have that candy bar ready to, because I could not say it. I probably wasn't more than 3. But that's how I remember. And I remember that whole store, walking into that store the
Yeah.
way it was. And now the cash register is in here somewhere.
Well, it used to be. Yeah, we've given it back to the people, they loaned it to us, loaned it to the Gibson Museum,
But
one of the
that's-
original
yeah.
cash registers.
And then now you guys talk about Nellie Reed. Gail just 3 or 4 years ago gave me Nellie Reed's quilt, so I have that at my house. And believe me, Nellie Reed traveled, and now she's out on the reservation.
Oh, wow.
Whether she likes it or not.
Well, before Gail got here, I mentioned that she had donated this chair
This lucky chair.
when we first opened from the,
It was upstairs in the Masonic Lodge.
Yeah,
yes, on the second floor,
okay.
yes.
But that's the story of my life, and I'm still here, and I'm proud to say I'm the original last Indian woman that's out there from the Rancheria. And I
Thank you.
tell you, I have a lot of Indian people that just does not like that, because I was born on my Rancheria. I still remain in the house that I was born in. Where my kitchen sink is, there was no sink when I was born.
Wow.
So, but
Thank you, Millie. Thank you for your service to our community, and thank you for being a historian. Millie also designed the American Indian display here in the Gibson when we first opened 8+ years ago, so thank you.
we're doing good, so.
Yes, we are. We're all doing good. Well, it is truly a pleasure having you share your thoughts and memories of mothers from this area. And yes, Millie.
I see that you had Lila's name on there. I won't speak as highly as a daughter or a son would, but I would like to bring up Lila Velarde. She was a cousin of mine, and she came to live on the Rancheria in 1982. She really lived her life up in Upper Lake, and her dad was my dad's brother, and Luke Simon's brother.
Where's Lila's picture?
And,
It was there.
I didn't show him, although you were asking me. But
There it is.
anyway, I was, Lila Simon's in the white blouse, but she was my cousin, and she passed away too, and she has a son and daughter, and she adopted daughter out there. And that's what I speak highly of Lila as a cousin. And they all rest in peace, everybody's mom, rest
Yes.
in peace.
May all the moms who are no longer with us rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace. Lila Velarde, I knew her when my daughter used to play with her daughter, Juanita, out at the reservation, and they would visit with each other. So I included Lila. So thank you, Millie. Yes. Well, at the end of this month, we're going to highlight for Memorial Day the Native American people who are buried at the Middletown Rancheria Cemetery. And next month, on the second Saturday of the month, Millie and Moak, Simon III, will be talking about their relatives who were buried there. So the chat next month will be the Native Americans who are buried at the Middletown Rancheria, the Indians that are buried there. And we'll have a display highlighting them for the next 6 weeks, beginning Memorial Day weekend. And hopefully, if you all are back in the area, you'll come to the Memorial Day service, which is at the Middletown Cemetery, Monday at 9 a.m. Is that correct, Linda?
That is
Linda, are you
correct.
the chair?
I am.
Linda is the chair of the Middletown Cemetery District, and we are truly appreciative of the honoring of the veterans who are buried at the cemetery, and they take time to honor those who are veterans who are still living. Are you still doing that?
Yes.
Honoring the veterans who are still living that come to that service at 9 a.m. It's about an hour long, or maybe a little less. Yes.
All of the veterans that are buried in Middletown and the Rancheria Cemetery their names are read. Jim Comstock does the one in the Middletown Cemetery, and Supervisor Moak Simon does the ones for the Rancheria, and he's also our special speaker. He gives a little speech, a little talk. The Lake County veterans come, they do a 3-gun volley in honor of the veterans. Their chaplain begins our service with that, or our ceremony. And the FFA, they do a flag presentation.
And wreaths.
And wreaths, yeah, and the
Boy Scouts.
Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts do the wreaths. So, and 4-H helps as well. So it's really a great thing to come to if you would like to. It's really, I think, a really special ceremony.
Yes, and it remembers what Memorial Day is about, not just a 3-day weekend. It is about honoring the people who have served our nation and continue to serve.
And local organizations buy the wreaths. That I
Yes.
think is really cool. And the FFA makes all the wreaths, and
Yes.
they put those up, and it's really nice.
One of the things, if any of you have any family pictures of veterans that participated in the past at the Memorial Day service at the cemetery, we have one of my dad where he was part of a group that honored veterans out there on Memorial Day. So if any of you have other family members, I would really like to get those pictures because I want to put them on the program. So if you guys have anybody, that would be great.
Well, thank you. Thank you all very much for joining us this afternoon, highlighting mothers, but also it's sort of like a family reunion here. And I love it, I love it, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, boy.